Do you love Active Record or not? We'll have a talk done by Viktor. First of all, big thanks for Viktor that he decided to do it. Yeah, and good luck. The stage is yours.
Thank you. I was asking yesterday at night, basically, if I can jump in. So this presentation was done in 3 minutes, say 3 hours or something like so. And I skipped the workshop I attended, actually, about Kamal for this. So don't expect too much, right? In 3 hours, you cannot do everything perfect. Closer, okay. So a little bit to this presentation, at least. So it's about more about how you can use Active Record efficient. And we heard about a lot of stuff which is basically interact together, right? So I will present something you saw in front of this entry here. So we will do a little bit refactoring, but we have not too much time for this, of course. I just will do will be presented. So this talk is more about how to do it in your daily life, and probably much better suited for workshop. Yeah. But anyway. Can I do it here? Yeah, you can connect with me if you want. Right now I'm working at Yellow Page as a senior staff engineer. And our application is in stage where we need to deal a lot with active record issues. And as you know, and as you heard already, there are solutions, right? But most people, and even our company, where we are at this stage where we are dealing with millions of requests, we have a lot of new engineers who are joining our company and don't really know how to use Active Record. And so, yeah, that's a basic. A little bit about me. I am actually original from Russia, from Siberia, in an area where German people live. So that's why Schmidt, right? So German name. And right now I'm living in Berlin. So I moved at some point to Berlin. Worked 12 years as a soldier in different campaigns in the world, in a special force. And also played e-sport for 4 years. Really active and really, could do something there. So yeah. Right now I'm doing a lot astronomy. And yeah, as I said, work in Yellow Page right now. Okay, just a little bit about me. When I did this presentation in this 3 hours, I took the approach like to cover everything, right? But of course, in 45 minutes, you cannot cover everything. So the idea is to present you those topics, but not all of them. I will skip some of them because, for example, basic topics, I think in this audience, in most of them, most of you are familiar with this. You can fix it on your own. I will present more advanced, but not really too advanced, because as I said, most people even don't know the basics, right? And by meaning basics, I used for everything you see here, just Rails guides, nothing else. So no any public posts, whatever. So just Rails guides. And what I also recognized in my past experience, in past jobs, most of Rails developers doesn't even know there's a Rails guide about this, right? And we have also the Edge guide, so that means based on the main branch. I use always this Edge guide because it's more better, most time better, and with more details. Let's jump in the first example. You can read quickly through. what I see always in every project, so in 5 years, last 5 years, I worked always in the projects where we solved problems with active record, performance, and so on. Basically, every company has this problem. I see code like this. So like, yeah, just normal query, right? It sounds not bad, right, in the first place, but it doesn't use active record, right? And to debug such things or to improve such things is really terrible, just terrible, yeah. And let's compare it to active record approach. I mean, you can read it much easier, right? Readability is much better. So, I mean, solving problems, performance problems, is not about knowledge of Postgres or whatever you use, right? It's always about also to understand the problem, right? First, of course, right? Find the problem. We learned about this logging, right? This tool from John. Also nice first approach to understand the problem first, right? And if you have this code in active record, it's much easier to read. Yeah, you use built-in features which developed by really experienced people, not like most of you, right? I mean, if you look at a core team, Rails, Ruby on Rails team, there are people working over 20 years, I think so, right? So most of them, right, working 20 years on Ruby on Rails. And I didn't work such long time with Ruby on Rails, so I wouldn't expect to have this knowledge, right, understanding of active record and so on. Maybe some people can learn it in 5 years. I don't say it's not possible, but most time you would not have this experience, right? So that's why using active record is a better approach, because you use built-in features which are performant and better understandable. And yes, of course, you can manage much better such thing, right? You will agree? Or who will not agree in this room? Yeah? Why?
Sometimes it's just easier to write pure SQL.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. Yeah.
And the bug is more difficult. This one doesn't catch, for example, SQL. The bug
Um,
this is what you need to execute. So,
yeah. Good point. Execute. It's a good point. A good catch for me. Because in my company, I learned most of people are working totally different than me, than I am working, right? So I'm working actually always in console, in web console or just normal console. Doesn't matter, right? And there you can execute active record actually. Easy, really easy. So just add one line called console, right? Or debug or whatever your tool you're using, right? Doesn't matter. And you have a console where you can use active record. So I don't see the problem here, really. Yeah. But I get your point. It's sometimes easier to write SQL if you're familiar with SQL, yeah, and not so much with active record. That's for sure. Okay, let's move on. Second one, easy, yeah. It's about logging again. So we had John with the idea of logging. Here, to find this code, we just discussed this, right? To find this code, where this code is executed, it's really hard. Yeah. There's some features in Rails, at least at Rails 7.1. You can add annotations, I think since ever. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. Long time. And the new feature you will have with Rails is what was covered by a gem you probably know about, Marginalia, which logs basically the execution place, yeah, where this query was executed by active record. One thing more for active record, right? So because if you execute, of course, normal SQL, you will not get this information. Yeah. In Rails 7, you will use it by default. So you see the bonus here, right? You understand what I mean? Yeah. Okay. That's important. Counter cache. I think in Yellow Page we have so many calculations. Yeah, I mean we have not really huge data actually, and compare what other companies have. And I'm asking always how are other companies doing it. And there's a really nice solution actually in Ruby on Rails for calculating. Yeah, you can pre-calculate basically stuff, yeah, and use this calculated values. Yes, there are a lot of downsides of this. You need to know it, how to use it, but in most cases it's much, much faster and it's enough, yeah. So how many people using this actually active in the application? Only 4. It's my expectation actually, because most people don't use it. Yeah, I don't understand why. It's much faster. Yeah. Actually, killing our application every day, basically calculation. Yeah. Next example, join types. Just 2 weeks ago, I did a presentation internally, in Yellow Page. We have every week some get together with developers and backend developers mostly. Yeah, and I discussed about Active Record again, about this associations and so on, how you can use it in Active Record actively. And actually, I was surprised. 50 people was sitting there, so it's my job to do it, right? So it's fine. 50 people sitting there, and no one knows about this. What I will show you now. Do you find it? What I mean? I mean, most time you should understand easily. But there's a one trick which we never find, never. On any post, never. Also not documentation, actually. Here I need to say it miss this point. Any idea what I'm talking about? Yeah, okay.
Maybe accessing the joint tables in select statement.
No, I mean, it's standard stuff. I expecting you understand. Look at this has one relation. Did you see something like this before? Yes. You're sure?
Yes.
The last one? The last order? So not, I mean, there's a relation, not one, has one relation, right? Okay. Yeah, just last one, yeah? It depends on how you order it, of course. Yeah, but standard is last one, yeah? Okay, I'm surprised here much more people know it. Okay, it's good to know, okay. But yeah, most developers don't know it, right? It's possible to do. You don't need this has one relation, right? Directly, yeah? Okay, cool. Select, you should know, select is always faster because it's reduce I/O, right? So not big deal, I would say. Should always use it, yeah? Next one, plug, the same like select. One big difference, right? It doesn't instance state records, right? That's the only thing, actually. Yeah, it's only thing, I think, yeah. A limit. Also, one thing you can work with Active Record easily, just reduce the I/O, right? Really important. Also, nothing special here, I would say. Yeah, just recalling it. What most people also don't know is about this feature, yeah? Maybe you know how to use it in Postgres, but not in Active Record, because there is no feature for Active Record like this. So because, yeah, after insert, you can return also values, right? So it means you save one query, which is sometimes really a lot, yeah, a lot speed. This feature is not ready in Active Record in 7.1, but I think it will release in 7.2. So you can use it directly. Okay. I think it's quite the implementation details I don't know exactly about right now. So I read this PR, it's already closed. But yeah, it's a little bit different than you see it here. Yeah. Asynchronous query loading is also easy, right? So just run asynchron queries. So it's just one here in this example, but still you can run multiple queries. It's not always faster, not always. Yeah, sometimes it's because of the logs and so on. It can be even worse than it was before. Yeah, so you need to be careful about this. But yeah, most time offload and do it in parallel. It's much faster. Batch operations, everyone should know about this, yeah. One most important things, if you have job running with updating stuff, so a lot of records, for example. Subqueries, there we are definitely at the point where I would say normal SQL is easier to write, yeah, definitely. So probably we need to find a better API for Active Record to write it easier with Active Record. But still you have this feature in Active Record, you can use subqueries, yeah. Not surprising, right? So it's nothing new also most time for most people. Calculation in database level, like it's kind also part of this subqueries, right? So you can use also in subqueries such things, of course. Often it's used together. Yeah, calculation in database level is much faster than in Ruby. That's why most people would say Rails developers are not really good Ruby developers, right? But I learned in the last 5 years when I worked for the performance teams and solving performance issues, people trying to use Ruby a lot, yeah, and it's not fast actually in this case. Yeah, database level is much faster. Who used this feature? Yeah?
I use CTEs. I'm not sure in Active Record. I used to write pure SQL.
Exactly. In Active Record, it's not possible right now. But the PR is closed, so it means in 7.2, you can use it like this. So given a concrete name for different parts, make it much easier to maintain, and readability is much better, yeah, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. Okay, so 7.2. In our application, for example, we are using a lot of Postgres views, but none of them is materialist views. None of them. But actually, it's what gets things faster, right? So materialist views has, of course, a downside. You need to update them, right? But it's much faster. Yeah, here.
How do you refresh them?
Please.
How do you refresh them?
It depends how you use it. So you can use the Postgres SQL for this, just easy. Or you can use Gem, right? I think Sainik was it, right? For example, one of the popular.
In this example. So
Yeah,
I'm going to use Active Record anymore. We're going to use raw SQL to refresh.
Okay, yeah. Let's have a look. I think it is also not here, right? Yeah. So you will have a model, normal model for this, right? For this materials view, and this model will have, I think, a refresh method, and you call it, and it refreshes. So it takes time. Such time which it needs to for the normal query, right? A little bit more because it's more data. But yeah, it's not in real time for sure. It's more caching, like it's like cache in a database level. So there was a question.
I was about to ask if you are using gem, the same gem.
Yeah. So yeah, in this, so now at Yellow Page we don't use actually a gem for this. Just of think about dependencies and so on, upgrading later, right, and so on. It's no one knows what happens with these gems, right? But actually, my personal opinion is this gem is really good, Scenic. Right? So it's really good and stable for years, and it's really good gem. Yeah. Actually, this one gets the most performance. Actually, I would say, without changing your database infrastructure. Yeah. If you have only one database, this one gets the most performance out of it. Yep. Here, I think I have example. Right? Now I remember I have example. I still have this example. Here's an example how you write this, right? In normal SQL, basically. And here you can see it how to use it. You see, refresh the products. You can use normal SQL, of course, or as I said, this gem. Yeah.
And indexes is how you create by using.
Exactly. So the best thing about materials views, you can add indexes. That's what makes it really fast. I mean, even without index, they are much faster. Yeah. But indexes are getting it really fast. Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I use only normal documentation, nothing special. Yeah. You can read it in guides and Rails API. That's all.
Hello.
Thank you. Can we return back to the page number 29?
Yeah, it's okay. It's
29.
29. Yeah, 20.
It's so as I understand, it load async. It use like connection pool.
Yes. Yeah.
Any way to set a limit?
For action pool.
Yeah. No, for example, our connection pool is like 50.
Yeah.
And we're like, how much it will use? It will use everything, because we could have like, a connection pool busy, and Rails will throw errors that it cannot get.
I get your question. My first slide was about use active record, right?
Do not use active record.
No, exactly. No, exactly. You use active record for this, so just don't care about this. Really, don't care.
It will
does
throw
for you. No,
exception.
it does job for you. Really. Yeah. So we had never a problem with this,
Okay.
really, like with connections or something like this.
Okay. Okay.
If you have enough connection, it will work. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, of course, if you don't have enough connections, you probably don't
Okay.
have enough connection to run it in parallel. Probably
Okay.
just add more.
Okay.
Never had this limit actually. I had even other problems, right? Other problems to solve, but not connections.
And page 32.
So you prepared.
Plug and no, I think everything is good.
Yeah.
No, maybe another one. Next one,
Next
or
one,
maybe
yeah.
the previous one with plug. Plug and string pass it to the plug. How do you solve this issue? Because all the time you need to
Plug. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So for example, let's imagine here we have string as name, and if for example we do distinct name, Rails will say you need to use arrow.sql and pass the string into arrow.sql. So it's Rails all the time saying do not send raw string.
You mean if you use this name somewhere as subquery?
Yeah, no, for example, if name will be a string,
Yeah.
and let's say we want to fetch distinct name, right? And Rails saying you cannot pass distinct name, and you need to call function arrow.sql and insert the string inside this function.
Should work without any problems, actually. I
No,
don't
it-
remember this problem.
Yeah, all
actually.
the time it says like you need to use arrow.sql to sanitize this.
Not in this case. Sure.
No, not
Yeah.
not when it's symbol. You're right, but when it's string.
No?
Okay,
No,
I'll
it
show you
works.
example.
It works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it works with strings too.
I'm just wondering the annotate thing that you showed us on that previous slide. That looks really cool. I wonder if there's some way of combining that with some kind of structured event name. So like event dot something, and then you could actually somehow query for. I don't know what I'm thinking, but it feels like that's a little.
I
hook.
understand what do you mean. A good addition maybe for this feature, right? Because it's basic. It's really basic.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone
Actually, I
else?
was thinking about the same problem when I tried this first time. I was thinking about also JSON or whatever, right? So something like
Just regarding a counter cache, it's usually only working if you're using the basic relation. But if you have the relation often within different scope, then you could create some fake relations, but then you have to refresh a lot of counter caches depending on the scopes that you're using. So this makes it probably harder, and which is probably one of the reasons why many people rather use other solution in this case.
Yeah, pretty sure about this. And we have in Aeropage exactly the same problem. So because Rails doesn't have packages, right? And it's a mess in a real world, right? In a bigger application. So once you start using Active Record in a way it is supposed to use, so not creating tons of relations through the whole application, right? Just create a one-to-one, maybe. One model to one other model, right? And maybe third one. It will work in most time really good. Yeah.
And on one of your slides, you're using find and batches and then iterating about a batch, but you could just use find each there and then also provide the batch size, right? So then you don't have to provide 2 blocks.
Yeah,
there.
sure.
It would-
Yeah. There's
It's
no
not a
question.
public code review.
It's kind of refactoring, actually. Yeah.
Okay, the last one.
Hi. Do you have any thoughts on Rails support for stored procedures?
I don't know if there's pair for this, open pair or something like this.
No, it's actually, it seems like I'm also a developer with, when I look 20 years back, the stored procedures were very cool, but somehow they don't find traction in Rails at all.
There's a gem for this, right? So a really good one also. It's good.
It has the name of its var affix.
Yeah.
Setting the use affix for it.
Yeah, exactly. And for functions, right? You can manage functions and procedures. So it's good.
And what are your thoughts on that? And
Sure. Definitely using it. Yeah. So.
Okay, so the last question, because I saw the disappointment.
Thanks. So I wanted to ask about the example with has1 and order. Can we go back to it for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, yeah.
Do you know what actual SQL will be generated from the fetch electronics reviews function? How will it do the left join on this has1 relationship? Yeah, that's why I think like sometimes writing raw SQL is just easier to understand.
You mean what SQL is created by this actually?
Yes. How will left join the last order relationship? Because I believe it will do a subselect to do that. Because otherwise you cannot join and only a single record, and it's a pretty surprising behavior. And for example, in this case, I think raw SQL could be more useful and easier to understand for developers. Do you agree with that or not?
Yes, because you see the SQL, right? So and you can rely on this because you see it in front of you. But as I said, I work really different than you, and actually most of the yellow page developers. I saw it really. So it means if you use console and you see this SQLs firing in your console, you can just check it, right? So you don't need to write this query in your code. Just check it in a console minutes after you execute it, right? Or 6 seconds after you execute it.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's very hard to notice those weird quirks about Active Record. And this might be already deployed to production, and subselect might be not very performant for that. And then we run into problems.
No, the problem is if some of the core team decides to improve this, has one relation, for example, right? As we discussed it here, you will never get this improvement. Never.
Yeah, that's true. Although I don't think there is a way to do that in any other way. It's just how SQL works.
I mean, it's always a different way, of course. And sometimes, some queries are not really possible with Active Record. Yeah, I'm not saying it's always everything possible.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I get your point. Thanks.
I know the answers with has one relation. You have to watch the movie from the second posters. There is a therapy for the couple. Okay, thank you.
Yep.